Joining me now is Verve Communications Prue McSween and Stepmates Studios Mark Nicholson. Thank you both for joining me on New Year's Eve. Mark, let's start with you. The Prime Minister has delivered his New Year's address. Let's take a quick snippet.
Of course, right now, the joy that we usually feel at the start of a new year is tempered by the sadness of the old. Following the terror inflicted on Jewish Australians at Bondi Beach, our hearts ache for every life lost and every life changed forever. Yet what Bondi also showed us was the best of the Australian spirit.
So what did you make of Albanese's words?
Yeah, I watched the whole thing. I found it all pretty lacklustre, to be honest, pretty weak. I thought it was, and not just keep piling on Albo, but I just thought it just came across like overthought sort of damage control, which is, what we come to expect with this bloke. He spent the next bit of the speech sort of talking about how we all needed to not be divided and we all needed to, come together and all this sort of over sanctimonious sort of stuff that I don't think he believed. He read it like it was a book report. And the thing is, if he was living in the real world, I've never seen Australia more united. Everyone is together. Everyone is united in this idea that everyone hates Albo at the moment. I swear, everyone is on the same boat. They're just like, geez, he seems weak. Even his own ministers are saying it. I don't think Toto, his own dog, is probably not wagging his tail every time Albanese walks into the room. We are so united at the moment. So I just felt like it sort of misread the thing. He just, like I said, he read it like a kid reading a book report. It was really, like I said, I don't come to expect anything better from our Prime Minister at the moment.
Well, Prue, what's your take on the PM's address today?
Well, Jamie, he talked about courage and compassion, yet he hasn't got the courage to do the investigation that we all demand, and he's showing no compassion for the victims, their families, and in fact for the whole Jewish community and the Australian community who are in sympathy with what has gone on for so long. And I just find it's all theatre, it's a performance. He's a really bad leading actor, and his supporting cast of Burke and Wong and Bowen, they're just a disgrace and a bunch of amateurs. And I just find the whole thing very insulting.
Sad to see. We'll have to keep watching this space. And Mark, let's take a look at tonight. And Sydney CBD has been placed under heightened security ahead of New Year's Eve, and authorities have moved to reassure a shaken public. And in Martin Place, there's been large concrete bollards have been installed. Now, while this isn't a sight we are used to, how important is it though to still get out and celebrate with family and friends and not let terror win?
100%. No, it's just the sad reality, unfortunately. And I think it's not actually the guns that people are actually scared of. It's not the rifles that people are scared of. I think they're actually more scared of the fact that it's sort of sinking in that this is Australia now, and this is the long-term strategy. This is the end result of the long-term strategy. I used to work in criminal justice, and there's an old saying that we used to have, which is that basically society, you get as much crime as you put up with. And the sad reality is we've put up with a whole lot up until this point. So I think this is chickens coming home to roost. And it's really sad. It's sad because it's also an admission that I think this is the reality of what they knew already, is that we weren't 100% safe. It's sort of like the equivalent of when you go for an X-ray and they tell you, don't worry, you'll be fine. And then the person gets behind this big concrete box and just like, don't worry, you'll be safe. Enjoy yourselves, have a good time. It's sort of the same thing. I think they knew we were in trouble up until now, and now we've got to put up with this sort of stuff.
And Prue, the Premier has warned that larger security, it's here to stay, with police visibly carrying heavier weapons. How should the public balance safety with the kind of society that we want to live in?
Well, it's going to be very, very hard. And there are a lot of people who are now so fearful. And when you look around at, armed police, bollards, the fact that we have these warnings, this was not the country we grew up in, and the resentment that this has happened, and largely because of blinkered, incompetent and self-interested politicians who have not done the right thing, have created this mess. And, we have mass migration, indiscriminate migration, and, we're now finding ourselves in a very sad situation. We've lost the Australia we all once loved.
Well, Mark, Australia's e-safety commissioner, Julie Inman-Grant, has been asked to testify in the US. Now, this is over allegations that the regulator harassed American tech companies and attempted to implement a global censorship regime. Now, this is voluntary, so it's unlikely at this stage anyway that Ms Inman-Grant will actually go. But what do you make of this summons?
Yeah, you're spot on. She's definitely not going to go because she's not going to do it. Or even though this would be about the only time ever as a taxpayer I would be happy to pay for her to go over there and just get grilled. I would love to watch that. It would be worth every penny to see her sitting there getting grilled. And to be honest, we needed someone to do it. Our parliament didn't. Both parties didn't do much to scrutinise the e-safety commissioner. We did an episode on it for Please Explain. Pauline Hanson asked a lot of questions about it, but honestly, there was not much debate around the e-safety commissioner, and it's incredibly dangerous. So hopefully, even just this request can get a little bit more news coverage around it and get a few more people talking about it, because it is incredibly dangerous what she's up to.
Yeah, what's your opinion, Prue?
I think it's total overreach. You know, I think America has every right to question her and to resist it. You know, that's part of their First Amendment, free speech. And I just think she's trying to just impact, you know, put this, you know, globally, when really a lot of countries are looking and thinking of adopting it. But to me, she has overstepped the mark. And I just feel that, you know, good on them for trying to compel her. She is a US citizen, so she should be compelled to go there. But whether she does do it will be another question, I suppose.
Now, I've got a question that's going to be for both of you, because I saw this and I thought, this is the world that we live in now, but desperate job seekers are ditching LinkedIn in favour of a new networking source, dating apps. So about a third of dating app users said that they had looked for matches based on the prospect of getting career help from them. Is this now the way of the future, to now find a job but also maybe love at the first time? Mark, what do you think?
All I know is I'd be stuffed. I'd be absolutely stuffed. I couldn't believe it. Back when I was using dating apps 15 years ago, I didn't have a clue what I was doing. I couldn't bag a 3, let alone get myself a job on there. There's not a chance in the world I'd know how to navigate dating apps and jobs. Nah. Thank God I'm happily married and currently employed. Thank God.
And Prue, what about yourself?
Well, it's a modern take on a casting couch, isn't it, really? But I've got to say, if I was swiping right and, you know, and someone was putting the bite on me to get them a job, I'd be really thinking, you know, is this the person I want in my life? So it's a very questionable, desperate thing, I think.
Well, Prue, apparently it's actually quite successful. That people that have gone out and looked for jobs through the dating apps, they've ended up finding jobs through it. So this might be the new LinkedIn.
Well, not for me, thanks very much. But yeah, good on them. I suppose if you're desperate enough, you'll do anything.
And Mark, just really quickly before we go, I wanted to get your thoughts just on Pauline Hanson, who has become one of the more likeable politicians. You've obviously done some work with her. What did you make of the polls?
Mate, she's the best. She's the absolute best, and they're surging, and it's deservedly so. I think it's people criticise her for they've been saying she's far right. I think it's finally settling in that everyone knows that she's just right so far. That's the answer. So I think people are coming around, and she absolutely deserves it. She's a legend.
Well, thank you so much, Prue and Mark. I really appreciate your time here on New Year's Eve. Go out and have a fantastic night.
Happy New Year.